From the Center for Agricultural Profitability at the University of Nebraska-Lincoln, this is Nebraska Farmcast. I'm Ryan Evans. Record high cattle prices in 2025 have created unique opportunities and challenges for producers looking to maximize their profits. One key factor in cattle marketing is the price slide, when lighter weight calves tend to command a higher price per pound than heavier calves. Understanding how a price slide works and how to leverage it can make a big difference in profitability. The concept is covered in a new article by TaraLee Hudson, a graduate research assistant in the Department of Agricultural Economics here at Nebraska, along with Dr. Elliott Dennis, an associate professor in the department. They're both joining me now to break down what the price slide means and how it's shaping cattle markets this year, as well as how producers can use that to make informed marketing decisions. TaraLee, Elliott, thanks for joining me.
Yes, thanks for having us.
Yeah, thank you. Happy to be here.
So, TaraLee, can you just explain in cattle markets what a price slide is? Maybe a little better than I did in the opening.
No, I thought you did a great job. But in general, we would say that the price slide applies to the feeder cattle market, not necessarily the fed cattle market. But like you said, it's the case or the market phenomenon, what I like to consider, and when lighter weight calves command higher prices than heavier calves of similar type and kind. And this generally occurs due to diminishing marginal feed efficiency. So, as is the case for any species, including humans, nutrient efficiency occurs best earlier on in stages of life. So, it generally costs more to add pounds as the animal gets heavier. So, as a result of that, in the market, we see this price slide.
What are some of the factors that should be considered when determining if it's actually worth it to hold on to calves to add that weight versus selling them sooner?
Yeah, so as a cow-calf producer, I think the most important consideration when you're deciding whether you should hold calves or not post-weaning to add weight is your cost of gain, or as an operation, the cost that you incur to add each additional pound. And then comparing that cost of gain to the marginal value of gain, which you can derive from the price slide, or the value that you get, or what the market will pay you for each additional pound.
Yeah, so I think when we're thinking about the additional value that you can get, that's not constant. Each year it changes, and the value that maybe putting on 50 pounds versus 100 pounds is really going to change year to year and by location. So even though it's something that we may have like a system set up that I bring in 550s and I sell them at 700, maybe that's not always the best strategy because that's not what the market's willing to pay you. So the way that we kind of put that all together is in what we call the value of gain. There's lots of ways that you can calculate this. A quick and easy way to do this is on beefbasis.com. You go in for Nebraska, put in your location and what weight you want to bring them in at, the date, and the date that you're thinking about selling them. And it really tells you a number, just like cost of gain, how many dollars per hundredweight it's going to cost. As long as that value of gain is greater than the cost of gain, then there's profits to be made. It's not guaranteed because it's still future expectations, and you can then put risk management tools around that to say, yes, I have this cost of gain, I know the value, I can put in, let's say, livestock risk protection or a put option on the CME to basically lock in kind of that profit margin.
TaraLee, in the article, you wrote that last year brought a price slide that was steeper than usual at lighter weights, yet flatter at heavier weights. So why is that significant for decision making?
Yeah, so the shape of the price slide really kind of determines the advantages and where you can capture additional value of gain. And looking at it visually on a graph, the value of gain is greater when the price slide is less steep. So it's never going to be a perfect line plotted at each weight class, but looking at it when the line or the slope is flatter or more horizontal, it shows there is more value to be captured at those weight classes than comparison to where the discount is greater where the line is steeper.
Yeah, so I kind of adding on what TaraLee said, if you're thinking about bringing in really light cattle and raising them to, let's say, 550 pounds or, 600 pounds, there's not a lot of value there, essentially. Whereas there was in the market, at least in 2024, there was a lot of value in bringing, let's say, 700 pounds and raising them to 850 pounds. And so think about if I got a certain dollars per hundredweight for 700 pounds, and I got that same value for selling that, or same dollars per hundredweight selling them at 850 pounds. That's kind of what she's referring to there, is that there's just a lot of value in the market and opportunities to make profits at heavier weights that we saw last year. And that has a lot to do with kind of where we're at in the cattle cycle and the demand for feeder cattle, particularly in the Nebraska, for heavier weights to clean up, some of the health concerns that we have before they hit the feed yard.
So was there anything else driving that particular trend last year?
So the price slide is generally driven by demand for placements, but it's highly correlated to corn price as well, which is a major input in feedlot cost of gain. And as we know, corn prices are lower than historically observed. So as we can tell, the price slide has adjusted to reflect that.
Yeah, so really when we think about putting on weight, it's can we put on weight cheaper outside the feed yard or inside the feed yard? And as TaraLee was kind of saying, is that, as corn price becomes cheaper, that cost of gain to the feed yard becomes lower. And then we can kind of compare it to like, where is it most efficient to put on pounds? And so that's why the price slide tends to vary by year. It varies by location. And as TaraLee talked about earlier, that efficiency of the animal really determines at what weight I need to bring them in at.
Great. And then last, before we let you both go, what are some key considerations for producers when they're monitoring the price slide?
Yeah, as a producer who's trying to decide what they're going to do in terms of marketing their cattle, like we discussed earlier, I think knowing and understanding your cost of gain inside and out is very important. And doing these calculations, and like Elliott said, using resources such as beef basis, but also considering other price risk management strategies that are available to you, like livestock risk protection, or if you want to do a put option. All of those in combination with each other, as well as monitoring the price slide, will help any producer maximize the value on a per head basis.
Great. Well, that's TaraLee Hudson, a graduate research assistant in the Department of Agricultural Economics here at the University of Nebraska-Lincoln, along with Dr. Elliott Dennis, associate professor in the department. And you can find their new article on leveraging the price slide and how that marketing opportunity can be taken advantage of amid record high prices right now. That's on our website at cap.unl.edu and linked to in the notes to this podcast. So TaraLee, Elliott, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Nebraska Farmcast is a production of the Center for Agricultural Profitability at the University of Nebraska-Lincoln. For the latest research-based information and education resources to manage your farm or ranch operation, visit our website at cap.unl.edu. That's cap.unl.edu.